Rise and shine, gamers. It's 7:30 on a Monday morning. I'm here to talk to you guys about men in bird suits. Not those ones. Not those ones either. Nice. What's good, Sims? The worst duelist here. So today I'm actually going to be profiling Dragunities. I did take the deck to locals on this past Saturday, and unfortunately it didn't go very well, but honestly that's more of poor decisions in deck building, I think, as opposed to the deck's fault itself, which I'll get into later. But I do have the tournament report here, so we can go over the tournament report. We can talk about that really quick. So round 1 I played against Shadal Invoked. I won that one 2-0. I won the die roll. He couldn't beat my going first board. And then the second game, he just ended on Mechaba and 2 back row. Honestly, the matchup's really easy if they don't get access to window. But even if they do get access to window, with the build that I'm going to profile here, it's not as much of a problem. At least there is some sort of outplay, where typically there really isn't with the build that I took to the tournament. Anyway, round 2 I played against Dragon Link. I lost the roll. He went full combo. He had Spheres, Tidying, Savage, and the Hot Red Dragon, Archfiend Abyss. So I did open Dark Ruler, but it didn't even really matter. He actually let the Ruler resolve. He didn't do the Tidying to then chain the Hot Red, but basically my hand was just really lackluster. I had no access to any form of extender. I had like no Dragon Ravine, no Remus, nothing like that. And he ended up just like bouncing my normal summon, and it's not really a ton I could do, so ended up losing that one out. Game 2, I ended up getting Dark Rulered myself, so not playing the Lechery Goliath stuff just for reasons that I'll explain later. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a concession that I made with a deck that is like, if they have Ruler, I mean, I guess I'll just back it up. But yeah, we lost that one 0-2, unfortunate. Round 3, a lot of unfortunate things happened. I played against a Dogmatica, Paleo Frog, like good stuff, like 60 card deck. But basically what ended up happening was I lost the roll. I lost this one 0-2. But what happened was I lost the roll, and he goes Prosperity for 3, mind you. Prosperity for 3 in a 60 card deck and revealed Imperial Order. And my hand was literally like Remus, Sentinus Tuner, and then the rest was all spells. So like he ended up like negating the Sentinus, and then I just like literally couldn't do anything. So fucking feels bad to get sacked, but don't worry, it gets worse. So game 2, I actually opened not quite optimally. I just had a subpar board of like Spheres, a Reed Bear, and Savage, and he basically starts his turn by going Kaiju the Savage. So Kaiju's over the Savage, which sucks. And then I actually will admit that I did make a misplay with Hieratic Spheres. I ended up bouncing a Swap Frog. He already like normal summoned it and used his extra normal, but he had like more gas to be able to get into his Toadstool. But basically the reason that was so unfortunate was because I bounced the Spheres and he still got to Toad anyway. He was holding Talents the whole time. So he Talents away my Reed Bear. He couldn't like kill me. He like didn't get rid of the Reed Bear, but we ended up grinding for a little bit, and we ended up in this like weird state of where he kind of was able to stabilize with a bunch of back row, and I was holding Red Reboot. I showed it to him by accident. I like dropped it out of my hand after I like ended my turn. I'm like, fuck me. But it was just, he created sort of a game state where he knew he was able to hold out until he could play around it, where he was like IDP, I Red Reboot, he saw him Judgments, and then it's just kind of was, you know, a wrap from there. So unfortunate that I gave him that information that I was holding the best one of against that deck, but he had order set the whole game anyway, and he was kind of just like fucking off, so it is unfortunate. It feels pretty bad to get sacked. Also notably, at one point that guy also top decked Card of Demise, which completely threw him back in the game. That's how he got to the IDP Solemn Judgment bullshit where he could finally like grind his way out. So I literally just got sacked into oblivion that game. It's pretty unfortunate. Oh well. Round 4 I played against another Dragon Link player. The guy that I played is actually one of the more consistent Dragon Link players at my locals, as in he just plays the deck all the time. He usually has success with it, but lost that one 0-2. Unfortunate. Lost the roll. Kind of the same story. He just had the full board. I actually almost played through it, but I was just like one card short. I just like didn't have enough gas, and it was again, it was like a due to deck building choices. Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Game 2, he super polyed me into oblivion. It's just like not really much that I could do. Super Poly my board away. I was holding Nib the whole time, so whenever he tried to like go for lethal, I just nibbed him. But unfortunately, only thing I could do on my turn was make Boral Sword, so couldn't actually like get over him in any way. And then round 5, I played against Brain Kids Eldritch. I actually won that one 2-1. Shout out to my boy Dre, he's the boy. But I won the die roll, and my board was just like too much going first, and then I couldn't beat him when he went first, and then we just basically played a die roll match at that point. He just couldn't play through the end board. And also he didn't, you know, he was only playing Ash in the main, and like I just can play through Ash all day with the Dragoonity deck. But well, I suppose it depends, but again, it's something we'll talk on more whenever I get to the profile. So yeah, it's pretty unfortunate that that's kind of what transpired, but you know, one of the big problems with the deck, which I think I may have addressed with this list, is the deck really has no follow-up, and I feel like that is part of the reason why I ended up losing a lot of games. I did play Dragoonity Armor Graham up until the tournament, and then right before the tournament started, I took it out of my deck and ended up losing out like a ton because that card was not in my deck, because that card really does add to your grind, and I knew that when I originally built the list, but I was trying really hard to keep the deck 40, which I have done in this profile. But you know, the Graham was the 41st card. I was just kind of like, I don't know if I'll really need this. I definitely needed it, because if I had the Armor Graham against the round 4 opponent, I could have killed him with the Boral Sword. Because the fucking Boral Sword attacked over like an 8,000 attack Nib token. It was just, yeah. I could have won out probably against the Paleo guy if I had the Armor Graham set up like ages ago, so that we didn't have to sit and just grind this shitty grind game until he demises into the stones. But I digress, so we'll just quit talking about this. We'll get into the profile, and I'll explain some of my card choices and what I've changed since the tournament, and what I'll, you know, hopefully be playing going forward. You know, I'm going to play this deck again next week, so we might have it back on the channel again, or maybe we'll even just mention about it, but, you know, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so one thing that I do want to say really quickly before we do start the profile is this build is strictly just focusing on Crystal on 5 and then just making a board. Like, we're not trying to do Dragon Buster stuff, we're not trying to do Goliath Lechery, not knocking those builds at all. I've seen Phoenix's content, I've seen Callie's list, I've seen a couple other people's lists as well, but yeah, the idea that I wanted to go in with building this deck was most consistent list possible, Crystal on 5, and then just make a board. You know, there's kind of just concessions that I've made that if they have the ruler, they have the ruler. If they have the poly, they have the poly, but really those are kind of some of the only cards that you actually lose to. Because you know, in 4 interruptions, with follow-up now that I've adjusted the list, but yeah, that's kind of wanted to get that out of the way. I'm not playing any of those sort of lockdown styles. I'm just kind of playing this build a board style and just, you know, go from there. So starting the list, we have the Triple Sentinus. Of course, this is like the normal summon of the deck. I was considering playing like less or more of this, or swapping the ratio out with Ducks, but what the card says basically is you just card a Dragoonity card, equip 1 Dragoonity tuner from your deck, and then you can't special summon from the extra deck except dragon monsters, and then it's like got a second effect where like if a Dragoonity or something like that would be destroyed by battle, you can, or card effect actually, you can destroy a card that's equipped to him. That hardly comes up. It actually almost did come up against the Paleo player though, so that's pretty funny. But yeah, of course, this guy just does more than Ducks just like on his own. Granted, it's like a 1.5 card full combo, but of course the problem with this card being 1.5 full combo is like it's really fragile, which is of course the you know, why I built the deck the way that I did. Crystal on 5, then normal summon this guy, and then the other normal summon of the deck is of course the 1 Ducks. The Ducks has actually kind of been dedicated to the follow-up play, which I will show like once we get into the the combo at the end. But yeah, so not really a ton to say about these guys. Whenever Ducks is normal, specifically only normal summon, you can equip a guy from Grave. But yeah, it is very good to at least have the 1. There are combo lines where you actually need this instead of the Sentinus, so you know, there's that as well. Next we have just the last of the winged beasts for the Dragoonities at least. We got the Triple Legatus. If you have Dragon Ravine or Dragoonity, you can summon it from your hand. If there's a Dragoonity monster in your spell and trap zone, you pop a spell trap on the field, which actually does come up. That effect is actually pretty relevant. I feel like people do forget that this guy does have this effect. But yeah, of course this guy is part of the Crystal on 5. It's, you know, it completely replaces Gird of the Wind Spirit and a lot of old extenders that I feel like the deck did have to play like a year or 2 ago. But yeah, Legatus is broken, just, you know, a generic extender. Wing Beast allows you to get into the synchros that require Wing Beasts. And then we have the Dragoonity Dragons. We have the Triple Remus. You pitch this guy, you search Dragon Ravine. If you have a Dragoonity monster, you can summon him from your grave. then he like gets banished after this field. You can only summon dragons from the extra deck. Completely fine. This card's insane. This card is absolutely insane for boosting the consistency of the deck. This is the reason why I feel like I could even play a build like this, where we are just going for like just the most consistent list possible to getting to a 4 interruption end board. But yeah, Dragoonity Agreement is absolutely broken. And then for the rest of the tuners, we have the Triple Phalanx and the Double Koos. They do the exact same thing. If they're in the spell and trap, you can summon them. The Koos can be treated as a level 4, but you have to make a Dragoonity with him. Of course, this gives you access to Barca and gives you access to just like a lot of just kind of broken plays. There's multiple different combo lines that you can do, where you can do like a Barca earlier or whatever. But yeah, the Koos is insane. The Phalanx, of course, you know, absolutely nuts. None of these cards are once per turn, so that's nice. At least these two guys aren't once per turn. Next, for the big dragons, we have the 1 Armor Mistleton. I only play one of this guy. I ended up just cutting it to 1 because Glow is just a better card. I just play multiple Glow because it's just strictly just this guy, but better. But what the guy says is you can special summon him from your hand by sending a face-up Dragoonity monster from the field to the graveyard, and then whenever he is summoned from the hand specifically, normal or special, by the way, so that is nice. You can equip 1 Dragon-type Dragoonity monster in your graveyard and equip it to this guy, so that's pretty sweet. And then we play the 1 Armor Leviathan. This guy is absurd. This guy basically has a similar effect to this, but you can do it from hand or grave. The only thing is he has to send a Dragoonity monster that is equipped with a Dragoonity card. It might just be a dragon. Let me double check. Yeah, you have to banish a face-up monster, actually, that you control that is equipped with a Dragoonity card. And then you special him on normal or specially equips a guy from grave. But yeah, you just can like really abuse this guy in like all of your combo lines. It's pretty insane. He kind of just like completely replaces Darkness Metal in the fact that like you can use this guy multiple times over a turn and kind of achieve the same thing that Darkness Metal was achieving for us. However, Darkness Metal was like allowing you to get more Gady Arc searches, but you know, I digress. And of course, the last one is the Dragoonity Armor Graham. This card's absurd, honestly. Like, I feel like if you are going for like a more Goliath Lechery type build, then you miss out on this card. Granted, like your end board's insane with a deck like that, but I feel like it's a lot harder to get the Crystal on 5 and be able to play through interruptions. But yeah, no. Also, this card, without this card, you really have like next to no follow-up. The card's insane. Basically, it's just strictly better Tempest. I don't really understand why people still play Tempest. I guess there's like Trucial Effusion lines, but I feel like that is like almost like you're kind of pushing it. Like, I feel like you don't need to do those sort of combo lines, but because you're just like your extra deck's already so tight that like I feel like by adding Trish Fusion, you're kind of just like making it worse. Just for the ability to go Tempest Search a second Mistleton and like keep your combo play going, when I feel like you just need to play the resource game. Like your turn 1 board is just so broken in this deck already. Like, I mean, it's 4 interruptions. I mean, it's really good. I feel like you need to have some sort of grind after the fact. You know, again, like I said, I missed this guy all day. If I played this guy all day in the tournament, I feel like things could have gone a little bit differently. Just because, you know, he comes back every turn. You banished 2 dragon and or wing beasts, so any combination. 1 wing beast, 1 dragon, 2 dragons, 2 wing beasts, whatever. You special summon him to the board. And then once per turn, you can target a monster your opponent controls. Actually, it's just a face-up monster, which is hilarious, but its effects are negated. Also, it loses 1,000 attack for each equip card you have. And then whenever you kill something by battle with this, you can equip the monster you killed, so that's pretty fucking sweet. Actually, he doesn't even have to kill it. You just have to destroy an opponent's monster by battle in general, and then if it goes to the grave, he can then equip it, which is nice. So you can kind of like keep them off of specific things if you're trying to, I don't know, it depends. Like you're playing against Eldritch, that could be pretty useful to get the Eldritch out of the grave so they don't have the recurring ability. But yeah, this guy's insane. I really wish that I played this guy. I did play this guy. In all my testing, I played this card, but I ended up cutting it last minute. Such a dunce, alas. You know, we're just going to have to make that concession this week, and we'll just try it again next week. But yeah, Armogram, broken card. And also, he's very important for, like I said, your follow-up play that I will show in the combo section. There's additional Wing Beast cards you play. Double Rock. I feel like you have to play Double Rock if you're playing the Crystal on 5. There's really no getting around it because you're not going to be able to get into your Savage at the very end of your combo unless you have the second one. And then, of course, Zephyros is just broken. It's just part of your combo. The card just does a lot for you. Also, the card does a lot in terms of it helps like fix your subpar hands. Like if you don't have access to Ravine at all, this guy can kind of really bail you out and keep your combo play going the way that you need it to go. Spells, triple Ravine, 1 Terraforming. I'm not going to explain this. If you're watching the Dragoonity deck profile, the card's absurd. Also, it's just kind of been in the meta for years and years now. Triple Glow. Glow is absurd. This card is just, like I said, it's just strictly better Mistleton. Also, having multiple of this really helps in the grind as well, due to the fact that this card can banish itself from the grave, and then you can just special summon any Dragoonity monster that's equipped. So with stuff like Armor Leviathan, you can equip like a Reed Bear, and then go banish Glow, and then get the Reed Bear back. Also, Glow can add from Graveyard, much like Nadir, but more reason why I feel like you only need the one Mistleton. So, like, after you comboed, if you do get into one of these, like you top deck this, or you're searching off your Romulus, like I do play double Romulus in the deck, so you can have access to multiple different cards, which we'll get into. But yeah, you can go search one of these, you know, you can get Mistleton back, you use special Mistleton over Romulus, equip a guy, banish Armor Leviathan, you know, Armor Leviathan effect, equip a Reed Bear, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff you can do with this card. It's absurd. Also, if you end up discarding one and then still searching one through the combo, then you just simply have the second one engraved for a follow-up. Yeah, this card's absurd. I see builds playing one. I actually used to play one when I first started testing with this deck, when I was just simply doing hand testing, and I was like, there's just no reason not to play 3 copies of this. This card's just insane. Due to the fact that mostly just because Senatus says you can discard a Dragoonity card, so it makes like all the cards I'm going to show you next live. At least as fodder for Ravines and Senatus. So this card is probably where the division comes in. It's something that Callie mentioned as well. This card probably divides people. I main the triple Whirlwind. Actually, shout out to the boy Brian Cuts. This was originally Ash Blossom right before the tournament, and he was like, just main deck this card because it was in my sideboard. But he's also a train player, so he kind of knows the same sort of stigma where like the community for trains is also quite divided on, do you main deck Urgent Schedule or do you sideboard it? He mains it, and I can definitely see why. I mean, the card is just insane, due to the fact that, again, it's like fuel for Senatus, it's fuel for Ravine if you're going first, if you really don't need it, because all the Crystalline 5 combos are 3-card combos of different varying, you know, combos of just like what cards you actually have in your hand. And then, of course, you know, Remus is 1.5 and Senatus is 1.5 as well. So, like, you can have extra stuff in your hand like this, and it's really not the end of the world. This card is absurd. Basically, what this card says is if only your opponent controls a monster, you can summon a Dragon and a Wing Beast Dragoonity monster from your deck. Both their effects are negated. It's got to be a Dragoonity tuner, whatever. But immediately after that resolves, you can Synchro Summon, which is just, you know, insane, because when you're going second into a board, basically when you activate this card, you're telling your opponent, hey, this is Crystal Wing, so if you let this resolve, I'm just gonna get Crystal Wing. Or you're gonna let me set up Gady Arc and Grave already, just off one card. So yeah, I'm really glad that this wasn't Ash Blossom, because Ash Blossom just does not do enough. Just like straight up, it just does not do enough. This is an in-archetype card as well. It also frees up room in the sideboard, which is nice. Yeah, no, the card's insane. Shout out to you, Cuts. This was just nuts, like, all day. I mean, it didn't win me any games. It didn't ever actually resolve, but I didn't expect it to resolve. This card simply just helps you push through boards. I was originally playing Phantasme in this list, which was very conflicting, but like I said, literally, they posted round 1, and I put this card in my main deck, so it was something that I didn't really consider. It never actually happened to where the Phantasme did conflict with this, but I have since moved Phantasme to the sideboard, which again I'll explain later. And then of course we have the 1 Lance. There's combo lines where you need this, and also the Lance is quite important for your follow-up play as well, which I'll show after the fact. So the rest of the main deck, we got the spells here, we got the triple Dark Ruler. You know, we're kind of treating this deck like Infernoble, where your turn 1's just so good that you just want to play shit like this, so that if you do have to go second, it makes you losing the die roll a lot more favorable. Again, the same kind of concept with Dragoonity Whirlwind. Not really a ton to talk about here. This card's just insane. And then this is the new edition, the 3 Tactical Talents. This card, I don't know why I was not playing this before. This was what the Phantasme was, and again, like I said, I kind of made that concession to Whirlwind right before the tournament, and I didn't really think about this. The Phantasme didn't really do a lot. I was kind of like in the mindset of, oh, it can unbrick me, you know, it's a dragon as well, it's good for going second, which it is good for all those things, but I feel like this card just fills all of those roles like all together. Because, you know, sometimes you can just lose to Ash on Remus. Like, depending on how bad your hand is, you can simply just lose to Ash on Remus. So, like, this card can, you know, potentially bail you out. And if you do get Ash on your Remus, or, like, your Gadiar, or whatever happens during your combo sequence, and you still push through, then you just rip a card. It's very much the same kind of mentality of Infernoble. Like, I don't know why I was not playing this card from the very beginning. This card's absurd. I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss with that one. I also was playing Prosperity. To be fair, in my own defense, I was playing Prosperity in this deck, but I ended up taking that out mostly because, like, not only do you not need the consistency boost, but you just don't have an extra deck at all after you Prosperity. At least with the combo line that I was originally doing. Took 12 cards, we threw away a Darkness Metal Dragon of Steel. We didn't even use its effect. We're not going to talk about that though. But I was playing Prosperity, so that is why I think the main reason why I didn't consider this at first, because I felt like there was also confliction there. But no, this card's absurd. You absolutely have to play this card in this deck. It's just insane. At least this variant, I would say. I would say this variant, you should probably play this card. Many a times where if I had that over the Phantasme during that tournament, things probably could have went differently. And then of course the last card, Called by the Grave, released the last like utility spell, and then the actual last card of the deck is Upstart. This is one of the cards that I ended up cutting the Prosperities for. I ended up cutting Prosperity for this, Armogram, and I forget the other card. But so moving on to the extra deck, you got to play the 1 Primal Being token, so that whenever you leave your extra on your side sitting there, your opponent is playing around Nib the whole game. But yeah. So for the extra deck, we have double Romulus. Again, one is for combo, one is for follow-up. We have double spheres. Unfortunately, I have not found a combo line where I don't need to use both of the Hieratic spheres, but notably, if you do end up on a subpar board of just like spheres double negation, something similar to the the Dragon Link board, you can have the second spheres stored up. So I actually do thoroughly enjoy having the second one, even for just subpar hands and just subpar combo lines in general. So that is something of note. LP, Pisty, and Striker. Like I said, the Striker is it kind of probably looks strange in this deck, but again, it's part of the follow-up play. For the combo, you don't actually use LP, so that was kind of what I was trying to figure out. I never really needed LP anyway. It was kind of more of a greedy play with a combo line I was doing all Saturday. And then when I got home, I ended up realizing you just don't need LP for the combo. So you can save the LP and then have the Striker to give yourself arrows off of Romulus, so that you can then attempt to make some sort of comeback if they do completely crack your board. But yeah, so we're playing these guys, not really much of an explanation outside of the Striker Dragon. Triple Burst, Sword, so that you can, again, it's for your comeback play. You know, you have to play Triple Burst because it just fixes your arrows for you. And then again, the Sword is like really all that you have after your whole board gets cracked, so you can try to make some sort of last-ditch effort. Also, of course, it's very nice to go for this when you're just simply going second. You can just go for this, kind of rush the Boral Sword, gets you like a Savage or you know, a Reed Bear or something. We have the One Attune. This is, yeah, the card's absurd. It does so much for the deck. Synchros, we have Gadiar, Barca, Crystal Wings, Savage, and a Reed Bear. So this is all I'm playing. There's no Vajrayana. You don't need the Vajrayana. I summoned the Vajrayana once and got into Crystal Wing. It didn't matter at all against a Paleo player when we were grinding. I did that. It didn't matter at all. Did not save me. Like I said, I didn't really have the best hand, so I didn't actually end up getting into the Crystal Wing, so I did have it left over, which is, again, something nice as well. You will have the Crystal Wing left over if you are just ending on a board of Savage, Reed Bear, and Spheres, which isn't terrible. You know, that's 3 interruptions. It is good. The Reed Bear does banish. But yeah, I don't feel like I need anything else. I don't need Lewin. You don't need it for the combo lines. You're just trying to, you know, abuse this guy all day long, and that's just kind of what we're doing here. Don't need double Barca. You're doing too much. I've very much tried to simplify this list so that we can have the best possible chance of putting up 4 negates and then also being able to make some sort of comeback. So yeah, not really a ton to talk about with these guys. I guess I can quickly explain a Reed Bear because it is the new card. When your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can banish a Dragoonity monster from your graveyard to get the activation. And if you do, banish it. If this guy destroys opponent's monster by battle, you can banish it. And if this guy is destroyed by an opponent's card, period, not card effect, just by an opponent's card, you Harpy Feather Duster. So yeah, this guy's actually pretty absurd. And again, like I said, there's plays for follow-up where you can equip this guy with Armor Leviathan and Special Attack with Glow. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so I'm going to clean this stuff up. I'm going to do a quick, just the standard sort of like 3-card combo. There's multiple variations. I'm just going to show you the most straightforward variation. There's lots of different ways to do it. There's some variations that are going to use like your entire hand because you have to use multiple discards off Ravine, but I digress. We're going to clean this up. We're going to show you that combo and then show you what my idea, at least for the follow-up play, is. Alright, so like I said, there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. But we're going to simply just show, like I said, the most straightforward way to do this. It's going to be Remus, Legatus, and Tuner. I'm not going to go into all the different ways that you can do this combo. I'm just going to show you this one. Because I hate when people do that and they just ramble like, oh, I'm telling you, it's good, it's good. There's a lot more lines. It's not as fragile as you think. But yeah, anyway, so you're going to go Remus effect. You're going to add Ravine. You're going to play Ravine. And then before you actually use the Ravine, we're just going to go Legatus. And then we're going to go Remus, because just bad things can happen. So we're just going to immediately do this play. So we're going to go for 6. We're going to go into the Dragoonity Knight Gatiarg. We're going to use the Gatiarg effect. We're going to add the Baby Rock, and then it will, of course, discard itself, and then it will special summon itself. Then we're going to go for the Crystal. And then we're going to use the Dragon Ravine just in case. We're going to go pitch a card, leaving us with just the Phalanx and the extra random. We're going to add Dragoonity Senatus. We're going to normal Senatus, activate effect. We're going to pitch Phalanx, and then we're going to equip Koos. We're going to go Koos special summon by its own effect. We're going to go into Romulus. Romulus on summon will search as Dragoonity Glow, which will go Dragoonity Glow. We'll add Dragoonity Mistleton. We'll then use Mistleton, sacking over the Romulus to go in our grave here and equip the Gatiarg from earlier. Of course, we're going to use the Glow. Special summon back the Gatiarg. We're going to use the Gatiarg effect again. Of course, it's not once per turn, so we're going to send add and send Zephyros. Then we're going to Xyz over for a Tomb. We're going to use a Tomb's effect. We're going to discard, or rather, we're going to detach Mistleton. I guess you could really discard or detach either one here, but I usually end up going for the Mistleton just because it is kind of the safer play. So we'll get the Armor Leviathan. We'll trigger his effect. That's going to equip us Dragoonity Koos. Then we will use Blackwing Zephyros from the grave. We'll put the Ravine back in our hand, and then we'll special summon him. And then we'll use the Koos' effect to summon itself. From here, we're going to actually need to get these two guys out of the way so that we have the ability to put our Barca next to the Crystal. So we're going to go for our first Spheres, and then we're going to go for Synchro 8 here for the Barca. The Barca will then equip as many Dragoonity Dragons. I think it's just Dragons, I don't know. Yeah, no, it's Dragoonity Dragons. As many as I would like. So we're going to equip 3 here. Importantly, we need to have the third one so that we can use the Armor Leviathan effect. So we're going to go Special Tuner by their own effects. We're going to go into the Guard Dragon Pisty, and then we're going to go into the Triple Burst Dragon. Now we're going to use the Armor Leviathan's effect by banishing the Barca. So we're going to banish this off the board, and then we will then send this to grave, of course. This guy will then come out, and then we can equip whichever tuner we'd like. It really does not matter. We're going to equip Phalanx here, Special Phalanx, and then we're going to just immediately go into a Reed Bear. Now, of course, we have the arrow for Pisty, so we're going to use Pisty effects. We're going to get the Dragoonity Knight Gatiarg. Importantly, not using the Gatiarg's effect yet because we are dragon locked. So we're going to take these two guys. We're going to go into the second Spheres, and then we're going to use the Gatiarg into the Baby Rock so that we can end with our Savage and equipping the Triple Burst. So again, it's like a fairly decent board. You know, we have 2 cards left in hand because we did bounce the Ravine here. We're going to have Spheres float, and then we do have an extra draw, so we have some resources going here. So now, in terms of the follow-up, I'm just going to show you the play really quickly. Hypothetical scenario. So obviously, you're probably going to use the Spheres at some point. We're going to get Remus. Let's say they just clear everything. Absolutely nuke the board. Maybe like a Levianeer play or something. And of course, you know, we did have 4 interruptions, so unless we're getting Dark Rulered or Super Polyed, we are probably going to hinder them to the point where they are ending subpar. Just, I mean, it's not definitely in the realm of like, you know, it's good, I promise, but you know what I'm saying. So for turn, we are going to draw any random card. It actually just does not matter what you draw. So because we do have the access to the Ravine, we're going to go ahead and play the Ravine. We're going to pitch and go into our ducks here. So we're going to normal our ducks, equipping any of the tuners, of course, except for the Remus because it just doesn't do anything. So we're going to equip the Phalanx here. We're going to special the Phalanx, and we're going to go into the Romulus. So the second Romulus will then add the Lance that, of course, we didn't use for the combo at all. So we're going to equip the Lance, and then we're going to go into Phalanx. Then we can do, you know, we can just go LP now, but we can use the Remus as well. So we're going to go into LP. We're going to go into Striker. Then we're going to use LP effect. We're going to special summon the Armagram from our deck. Now, you can just use this guy's effect now if you'd like, if they do have something that you care to negate. But, you know, the idea here is we're going to just simply go into Sword. Of course, leaving the LP up so that we have the ability, if they really don't die, we still have the LP up. And then we just simply use Armagram's effect here, banishing any 2 dragons and or winged beasts of any combination. And yeah, this is more than enough for game. This right here is like 89, 99. So, and then of course, you know, we're holding talents because we're broken. But yeah, so that's my idea for the follow-up. It leaves you, you know, the combo is 11 cards, which is going to not use LP and leave you this at your disposal with this guy in your deck. Originally, whenever I was using LP for the combo, I was just getting this guy out of my deck, but then I realized that that is just kind of really greedy. To be fair, it does help though substantially. Like if your opponent is playing Shaddolls and they do end on a window, you can, you know, if you did get this off the spheres, you can just summon this out and then negate the window. Now, I will say though, the follow-up isn't like end-all be-all for every matchup. You will have to adjust accordingly what you do get off spheres. Like you can get the Remus, but also, like I said, if you're playing against Invoke Shaddol or something of the like that's going to put up some big beefy boss monster you just can't get over, or that you need to just get around its ability, then of course you'll always go for the Armogram instead. Granted, it's not really going to net you the same kind of thing. You know, if you do go for the Armogram, you can normal Dux, get the Tuner, and then you can go to Romulus, get the Divine. You can still get into LP, and then you can get the Armogram. You just can't get the Armogram back off its Revive effect, because you're going to have to use it, you know, assuming they cleared your board. But I digress. That's the list. That is my one combo that I wanted to show, and my follow-up play, just kind of explaining my reasoning with the deck building. I really wish that I played the list like this going forward. I originally was playing Darkness Metal Dragon, a Dark Steel, and just like all kinds of shit that I just didn't need. But yeah, this is kind of what I ended up coming up with after looking back. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry it kind of ran on long. I just had a lot to say about this one, so I'll see you next time. I'll probably post maybe some test hands with this, or I'm not too sure what I'm going to end up doing with this list. I may post it again next week after I play in the tournament. But yeah, that's that. I'll see you guys.
Dark Ruler wants to know your location.